chances that I missed. Some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist. I wondered what would change. I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I have today. Except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing. I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I have today.
Oh, good morning. Step over, guys. I want to step over the lyrics there. Hey, guys, this is 1100 WSBI. And this is one street over. Welcome to it. Oh, my goodness. Hot summertime. I guess this is what we call the dog summer. Wouldn't you think so, Mayor Vogle? I think, were we in the dog days?
I didn't think that was till August, but it feels like it's August already.
Okay.
They're talking, today's going to be hotter than yesterday.
Is it? Oh.
That's what they're saying.
I'm telling you, I've been, if you've been listening, you know that my mother passed away the day after Christmas. And so we've been cleaning out the old farmhouse and things like that. And it motivated me to clean out my house. And so I can't get it done fast enough. And so I had Tiffany Thompson's boys, wonderful boys, came out and helped me clean out the upstairs. We have that old dairy barn on our place. Yeah. That is an office building, actually. That was our Cardinal Roofing office building for 20 years. And so we refinished that dairy barn in like 92 to be an office. So my children, and of course me too, when we would just get, something was in our way, can I put this in the barn?
It's catch-all.
Yep. You cannot believe the mess that was upstairs in that barn. It was unbelievable. And it's in the middle, and because we've had this dry spell, I got the boys out and I said, okay, because it's up and downstairs in the heat. And they just were troopers and stuck in there with me. And they got it all down. And so I've been sorting it. But I've put up little pop-up tents and I've been sitting in the shade sorting through this mess. We got a trailer load to go to the dump today or tomorrow. And then I've got boxes for each of the kids and like, okay, either take it or it's going. And I've taken 2 or 3 loads to Cope. I got a load to go to Cope this morning. And, but I've been sitting in the shade sorting this stuff, just sweating. I mean, it's, I'm not sitting out in the sun. I'm not doing anything.
The air's hot.
Yeah.
The air's hot. You breathe. You was talking about carrying all that stuff off.
Yeah.
You could sit up there on the end of the road with a trailer when people come by going down to that dump and just pick things off them trailers. And I believe you'd be a millionaire in a year.
Well, maybe so.
It surprises me the stuff that comes in that dump.
What's on my trailer's trash.
Is it trash?
It's trash. Because I recognize the fact that if there's some value to it, if Cope can use it and sell it to use because if you don't know about Cope, they have no administrative cost. Everything that they bring in goes for benevolence for this community. And I'm talking from food to clothing to paying electric bills, helping pay mortgage and rent, and helping people in their downtimes. And they have no administrative cost. And so when I found out about that, if I've got something I think is valuable that I don't want to take the time to sell, I'm going to let them sell it and have the money. And then too, then there's Goodwill and all that. And I know a lot of people are like, well, Goodwill's CEO is a millionaire, whatever. But they're getting things into people that have low income. So if Cope can't handle it, I will take things still to Goodwill because the people that are lower income can go to Goodwill and shop, and regardless. But Cope is my first choice.
I don't know what we do without Cope.
Yeah,
when you
I
go
mean,
down
they're
Main
wonderful.
Street, you'll see tractor trailers unloading food and stuff.
Yep.
And I'm talking to volunteers working.
Yeah. Like I said, it's all volunteer,
Yeah.
100%. So if you don't know about Cope, they open back up. They're closed on Sunday and Monday, and they're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 3. And sometimes they'll have a sign that says no donations because they're overwhelmed. So respect that and try. And I'll hang on to stuff for a couple of days and try to get to them. I get to a point that I have to just get rid of it because I can't keep carrying it around in the truck. But I try to take them stuff first. But take them good stuff. Don't take them trash.
Don't carry
y'all.
junk. And
Don't carry junk.
I try to say at home, if you don't touch it in a year, you don't need it.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably a pretty good rule. We cleaned out our basement one time and found a car.
You did not.
Well, there's a car in there, but you can't get to it.
That's hysterical.
But my wife, she's retired now,
That's
and
funny.
she's been working on the basement and trying. We're getting because I want to put me an office down there or what do you call it, a man cave or something. But I told her the other day I might make you go back to work. She's probably listening. But
Yes,
since
she
she's been
usually
retired,
does.
we tore the carpet up, we put in floors, we worked on the gutters, we worked on the deck, and I told her the other day, I said, quit looking around. I'm going to make you go back to work.
It's so funny. Paul Rainey's usually on here in the morning. I haven't seen him this morning, but he just did this cool little garden thing with pebbles and stone and all of this, and it looks really good. And I was commenting on his wife's social media. I said, "Ooh, this would be perfect for a space at my house. Don't tell Mark that you've given him another honeydew list."
Yeah.
Thing. But that's my thing. But we've got all this. There's Paul. He's saying hi. But that it's a cool little thing. But I come up with all these ideas too because Mark and I we're both off in the summer, and so but we've just got to purge. I'm getting rid of stuff. And Paul, I'll just tell you right now, I've got some stuff for your bride. I found some. She's scrapbooks, and I found some old scrapbooks and photo albums. I'm not going to use, so I'm going to bring them to Mary. She can say no, but I'm going to bring them anyway. Anyway, but you're talking about the man cave. That's what we're going to do with the top of that barn. That was my husband's roofing office. When he was the roofing contractor, that was his office. And the back room was his estimating room. So we're going to my dad collected books, just an extensive collection of books. And we just don't want to let them go. So we're going to have a little library up there. And I've got a lot of books. And so we're going to move all the books up there. And it's going to be kind of a little man cave. Working with Cumberland Connect right now to try to get the internet out there. So we're working with that. So anyway, there's a lot going on.
Those old barns are pretty neat.
They are.
You don't see them like you used to.
Yeah, our dairy barn. It's the milk room where the tank would be. When we were going to be a venue, we had a plan to turn the whole barn into a thing for, weddings. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. I don't want, there's just too many venues in Robertson County now. I don't even want to compete with that. But what we do is we let a lot of people come out and fish. And I want to have a restroom that's accessible that I can keep open. So we had our bathroom for the office right there in the tank room. There was a bathroom.
Right.
And so we're redoing that. So we can have a bathroom we can leave open. So if somebody's out there playing in the creek and we're not there, they can, have access to a restroom. So we're working on that. But anyway, there's a lot going on at our place. It's a mess.
There's a lot going on in Robertson County right now.
I know.
I mean, everywhere, when I come in work this morning, you just see it waking up. I say that every morning, but, I went by Pratt's and there's the usual crowd in there eating. I don't know what time they get up.
Went by where?
Pratt's Kitchen. I mean, that's the restaurant.
Pratt's? What's Pratt's?
Oh, it's right there off of Central, across from the ambulance, the fire station.
Pratt's
Restaurant, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Larry's.
Well, that's Pratt's. I used to be old days, we called it Pratt's. Larry's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was like, well, I know where Larry's is,
yeah,
but you call it Pratt's?
Yep.
See, this is old school stuff. I don't know any of this stuff.
See, he had brothers in the restaurant business, too.
Oh.
He used to be on Main Street.
Okay.
It was a meat and three, yeah.
So if you hear somebody say Pratt's, that's the same as Larry's.
That's the same place. That's Larry's.
Okay.
Larry was he was
he passed recently.
He did, but he was just somebody that you seen there all the time, going table to table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you're talking about things I never knew. I've never heard it called Pratt's. I never heard that. And it's like I've always been a big fan of Fortune Village, and I know those folks really, 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 really well. And then I heard somebody say something about Blue Roof one day, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Blue Roof. And that's what they call the Fortune Village. If you're a local, it's Blue Roof. But anyway,
Blue Roof.
all right, guys.
All right.
That's how we say hello. It's only 10 after.
Going down a rabbit hole.
But that's fun.
Yeah.
I like doing that, Mayor. Come on. That's what we do.
Well, there's a lot of history in this county,
Yes, there
and
is.
you talk about places like that. And
Yeah.
somebody asked me some of the old bars that used to be in town.
Yeah.
And I got to where I couldn't remember half of them, but there used to be a bunch of bars, man.
Well, but then because when did that change? Is it prohibition and things like that? Because, well, of course, I mean,
I wasn't around back then.
But when did they, because you couldn't,
Probably when the
couldn't sell liquor by
DUI
the
laws
drink.
got in effect.
okay, because you couldn't sell liquor by the drink. And so when did it become to where it shut the bars down? Because now we
think-
have them again,
yeah,
I guess. I don't even know what the liquor laws are around here, but I guess it's pretty much open now, right? Do we have restrictions?
Well, I don't know.
don't
What about
really
you can go
know.
somewhere and probably sit, but the law's going to get you. I mean, that's just all.
Yeah.
They recognize cars that'd been there a couple hours.
Oh, yeah.
And that's probably when the bars changed.
Well, I've been hit by a drunk driver twice.
Yeah.
And I just, we were hit when I was a kid, terrible accident when I was in 4th grade. And then I got rear-ended right there, right in front of New Chapel on Highway 49. Right before my first, because I'm getting ready to go on my mission trip to Mexico. I've been going since 2016. And I remember that was our first trip to head out. And I was looking in my bag, making sure I had my passport and all this stuff, and somebody came up and just plowed right into the back end of us. And, I just, and you just don't do it, guys. Why? I was talking with Caleb.
This road out here can be dangerous.
Yeah,
It can be, yes.
Well, Caleb Stratton yesterday, he is our Wildlife Resource District Sergeant. And something I knew that they had jurisdiction on the water. And I knew that sometimes they would go out with, the sheriff's office or chief's office, something like that. But I did not realize that he independently, even though he's in a wildlife truck, could pull over somebody that's suspected of drunk driving.
Yes.
And arrest him. See, and I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. I thought he had to do that in conjunction with like a ride-along or something. But
No.
I knew he could on the water. But he was telling me that he quite often will pull over DUI.
While we're talking about
offenders.
water, Vern, I live on the river.
Yeah, I know you do.
And I just want to
agree.
tell people, when you go out there on the river and carry food and stuff, keep your trash in the boat.
Yeah.
Leave it like the Lord meant for it to be for the next person. Yeah, it's getting to be a problem. I talked to the park ranger down there at Port Royal. He tells me every Monday morning he picks up 55-gallon barrels of trash
Yeah.
that's floating down or just been thrown out.
Oh, you can't believe the
Yeah.
amount of trash we pick up out of our yard on Cars Creek.
Yeah,
Where people and a lot of that's from flooding and all of that. But then there's sometimes you can just see where people, that's one thing we invite people to come down and fish all the time, but I tell them, please be respectful. Don't leave trash.
Don't leave trash.
Don't be, down there doing things you ain't supposed to be doing. But anyway, so.
Be safe on the water.
What you
We
got?
were supposed to have a short meeting last night. We didn't have very much on the agenda, but it seemed like when we get in zoning sometimes, if there's
Patching?
yes, it is. I thanked them all for being civil last night.
Yeah.
I mean, just because we don't agree don't mean you can be ugly to somebody.
Yeah.
You can disagree and be with a smile.
Be nice.
But let me get in communications first. I want to talk about the budget. We are in the middle of our budget. Most counties are already done with their budget. But the roof on the courthouse has got us in a dilemma. We had that heavy storms. And if you remember the flooding we had and everything, well, the roof on the old courthouse kind of was like a pond. It was holding water up there. And all of a sudden it busted through.
Ugh.
And it ruined the courtroom on the second floor, the big courtroom where we have our jury trials. So we've had to completely go in there and strip that courtroom down, carpet and all, move all the pews, the judge's bench. This project, I can't tell you what it's costing, but the insurance company is going to pay for it.
Okay.
Now, the roof itself, no. They're going to pay a little bit, and they didn't have to do that. They was good to us because that roof is 20 years old, and we're in our 19th year. Now, there's 3 roofs up there, and all them's got to come down. The clock tower is like a chimney at a house. And if you got a chimney at your house that is leaked and leaked and leaked, imagine having a clock tower that's 15 by 20 foot or whatever across 20. I mean, it's 40 by 50 probably, but that thing is it's like a dumping water in a bucket. I mean, it's just wow. So they're going to have to go and redo some remasonry work on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's going to be $1.3 million
for the roof and everything.
Everything, taking the old one off, and September 16th, there will be a crane parked there at the square, taking the roof off and putting the other one on. The courthouse will be emptied of all folks. We're having to move a circuit court clerk out, Chancery Court, and myself to go in there. The sheriff is deemed going in and out of the building as unsafe because the crane picking stuff up and workers up.
Oh, yeah.
So we're having to make room for everybody to go over to the office building. I'll be going across the street at the Doctor's Plaza. 911's moving to the Doctor's Plaza to make room for circuit court clerk over at the office building. Veteran Services will be going to the new building.
Right.
Because we're making room down on the first floor because the county court clerk is running out of room. I mean, she's doing so many passports now. It takes a lot of room for her, and people are having to stand up out in the hall. Mm-hmm. So she's going to be moving some people over there, I hope. That's part of the plan, too. And when we go vacate the courthouse, we're going inside the courthouse. And if you've ever been on a jury, there's a bathroom up there at the jury room that's not very private. It's just, it's for men and women. Yeah. And we're going to put another bathroom in.
Right.
Try to do what's right by that. The judge's office has got water, has run down the wall, ruined the plaster. That's all got to be redone. And then we're going to put another bathroom on the other side of the courthouse because we're going to put another jury room in for the small courtroom. Mm-hmm. Where if you got 2 jury trials same time. We're getting 2 more judges. We already got one. We're fixing to get another one. And they're kind of wanting their own offices, and they love to have their own courtroom, but right now we can't afford it.
Right.
When you got a judge coming in from Clarkston, he's not going to be there but 1 day a week. We can't build an office for 1 day a week. That's not. We got too many. We got wants and needs in this county.
Yeah.
That is a want, but we got to work on the needs.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to spend about $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that'll make the attorneys happy around the square because they kind of like being able to walk across the road into that courthouse.
Well, I can't blame them, but but like you said, wants and needs are the things you have to balance.
And if we spend that kind of money on the inside of the building, then I see them having court in there for a long time.
Good.
Now there's going to be people upset the mayor's not going to be there. I won't be moving back in the building. Very few courthouses in the state of Tennessee now the mayor occupies the building. Mm-hmm. Them days are about over.
Yeah.
As we need more courtrooms, somebody's got to leave, and it's going to be the mayor because Chancery Court will be taking over my office.
Well,
and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it was kind of cool seeing you there in the courthouse. So I enjoyed seeing you in there when I've been in there. But I get it, and you've got to consider the historic aspect when you're doing some repairs on a building like our courthouse. It's historical, and if you want to maintain that historical aspect, that's another thing that has to be considered. Is you're trying to restore it to
very expensive.
Yeah. And that I can't imagine. We were roofing contractors for 20 years, and I know exactly what you're talking about when you talk about how many you got 3 roofs on there. Probably should have never had that 3rd one put on there.
No.
I know they were trying to save money, but you should not have put that 3rd roof on there. I mean, that shouldn't have happened. But when you're trying to flash in something like that tower into a roof, you've got to do it right. And there's a whole lot of people that do not know how to do it right. Well, and you've got the masonry because we had a situation where we had a roof that they were coming back on us. It's leaking. No, it's not. It was your masonry joints that were leaking because it had not been properly done. It was a big science building that we had worked on, and it was a new construction. And the people who did the masonry on it had done a terrible job. And their masonry, their joints were leaking. We couldn't fix that. And no, it was a nightmare trying to prove we weren't responsible for it. But
it's
I'm telling you, you got to get the right contractor.
Well, to do a job like $1 million job up there, you've got to have engineers involved.
Yeah.
And all that takes money.
Yeah.
We've had 2 or 3 roofing engineers up there because one of the roofs was a copper grooved that was somebody soldered the grooves in. Well, all that's with the heat and the cold weather over the years. Those seams have busted loose.
No, you've got to
all
that in.
All that's got to come down and
you layer it. And
back in them days, that was the history part of the roof. But we got to now. We've improved things.
Yeah.
So it may not look as neat as it was back then, but at least it will hold water out.
So do you have a contractor hired and everything?
We got one. It's a local contractor here called JRC.
Okay.
They put the roof on the office building for us.
Okay.
After that March wind blew it off, and done a great job. Great job.
Yeah, well, that's good.
They're local,
as long as you got a good
but they do work nationwide.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So they're ready to go. We're waiting on material to come in. It's got the historical looks, and we set September 16th when all this is going to
Do they have an estimated time of completion? What are they telling you?
We're hoping that that roof could be put on, and we're hoping by the first of the year.
Okay. Oh, I think absolutely they can do that.
It's weather permitting. We don't want to put a roof on in the winter.
It's the tear off that's going to take time.
We've been told
down is not a huge
We've been
issue.
told 6 weeks.
Okay.
6 weeks.
I think they can do it in 6 weeks. I mean,
it's bad around there in the square because of the vendors and businesses.
That tear off's going to be a
it's going to be a lot of work, and hopefully, what they will do is what they tear off that day, they will replace it that night with something.
Oh, okay.
In case it did rain.
They'll have to do something, but they'll have to,
Well, we got 6 weeks go. That's our goal.
All right, guys. Well, it's going to be a mess in downtown, but that's okay. It'll be all right.
Well, it's happened before, and we survived.
Yeah.
Now, a big cost is moving everybody out of the building and then into somewhere else, and then moving them back in.
Sure.
That's going to be a big cost. We're figuring it's going to be close to $400,000-$500,000.
Just the moving cost?
Yeah, and Serpro's going to help us with that.
Yeah.
Well,
the insurance kind of covers some of that. I
the
would
insurance
think they would cover
the
that.
insurance is going to cover.
Yeah, I would think they would cover the moving expense.
Yeah, because we got to get everybody out, and and they're going to cover that. And, and we've already put money in account to take care of it till the insurance kicks in.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're talking with County Mayor Billy Vogle. If you're new to the program, he's a good friend of mine, so we like to chit-chat there at the first. We just like to say hi. But the courthouse situation is a real big deal right now, and they are working to get that taken care of. So hopefully we'll have everything pretty again by Christmas. In time for the holidays. That's the hope. But you just kind of hang with us. And if you have any questions, his office door is always open. You can reach out to him. Be nice to this man. He's a good guy. I'm going to take a break real quick. Let me take a break, and then we'll come back and reset and let you kind of continue on with what you had from the meeting last night. I want to talk about Veterans Motorplex, though, and I want you to be involved in this. I did not realize how long that track had been around.
Yeah, I told you last month.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
I talked a lot about that because I don't think people really, this is one of the best kept secrets in Robertson County, in my opinion. It is so much fun. I had no idea how much fun it was going to the races. And I went several times last year, got to go and see the big tractor trailers when they race. That was crazy. And I'm still waiting on Jerry to give me a yes or no as to whether or not they're going to do that. Now, they have a ticket price of $40 that can get a big family in. $40 will get up to 6 kids and 2 adults in for one ticket price. Now, if they have a special race, if they bring the big tractor trailers in, that's a special ticket price. But when they've got just normal racing, which they have every Saturday, you can go out for a $40 ticket price and get a whole passel of people in, up to 6 kids and 2 adults in for $40. It's a 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. It's a quarter-mile high-banked asphalt bull ring, fun for the whole family, and it is just going to be a blast. If you've not been to the races, get out to the races before the season's over. You've got through October, and it might extend on into November simply because we got started a little bit late. They were doing some big renovations out there, so just get on out there and be a part of it. Go and follow them at Highland Rim Speedway. We want to get those, but they had 19,000 followers when he took over that page, so he kept that. But you'll see the Veterans Motorplex banner has changed, so you're at the right place, and that's where they'll post it if they have a rain delay, something like that, or a cancellation. So you can follow them there. But get out to the races. It's at 6801 Kelly Willis Road in Greenbrier. legendary. So you went when you were a kid, right?
Yes.
So
there in the fairgrounds, we'd go to Ridgetop on, seemed like they was Friday nights or Sunday afternoons. And of course, fairgrounds was Saturday nights.
Yeah. So that's cool. That's cool.
Well,
Going
some
to
of the
races.
same drivers went to both tracks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said there's like legends, people that you would know their names too.
Bobby Allison, all of them, Red Farmer and Cuckoo, and all of them raced there. Bob Bertram and Bob Ruther. We're talking about names back when it started from the grassroots of racing cars in Nashville. They went to Highland Rim.
That's really cool. And I'm telling you, that's Veterans Motorplex now. Highland Rim is now Veterans Motorplex. And if you want to know more, follow them at Highland Rim Speedway. Also check out the Bubba Bout Broke podcast. That's about because they're talking about how that, when you race, man, you just kind of stay broke. But it's a hysterical little podcast that they have, and you can find a link for that at Highland Rim Speedway as well. But it's all about the racing community. And it's a lot of fun, and you will enjoy it if you just get out to the races, guys. So go to the races this weekend and follow them at Highland Rim Speedway to make sure you know if we have any rain delays. But when you talk to Jerry, you be sure and let him know that U-Turn sent you and that their ad dollars are working. All right, Vogle, what you got for us?
I've got it.
You mean they fuss at each other?
Well, they're out on the track. They might be hitting fenders, but they go in the infield. They're hitting. But let me tell you, Jerry has changed that whole atmosphere.
He really
it's
has.
a family atmosphere, and he has done a lot of work.
Yes, he has.
I mean, it's he loves it. I reckon he loves it because he does a lot of work for something he's only open half the year.
Well, and he's
got to work year round.
You talk about the he doesn't tolerate any of that mess.
No, we don't.
No. He's like, because they don't sell any alcohol. And people are like, you go to a racetrack, you can't get alcohol. And it's like, no, he doesn't sell it.
Yeah.
And so, and somebody brought, I was there one night and somebody brought some in and he's like, out. He goes, they kicked, they're like, you got to leave. You can't have it. And he goes, you can pour it out or put it in your car, but you can't have it in here. And the guy was like, oh, it's a race. And it's like, man, it was so funny.
It's not Talladega.
No. And, but he held strong, man. I thought it was funny. And, but he doesn't, and he'll say that too about when you're talking about what goes on down in the pit, and he's like he don't put up with the nonsense down there. Yeah. So anyway, it's a good place, guys. Take your kiddos; they'll have so much fun. It's a good time. What you got for us?
Well, I want to get back to the budget. I was at a meeting yesterday with about 12 county mayors, and a county all we have to depend on is property tax, and we don't like raising property tax, but when you got to have a little more money because of inflation or whatever, pay raises, I mean, that's all we got. And we're trying to figure out ways to get more income without doing a property tax. We're working with our state legislators to help us out because when you have maintenance of effort like schools and stuff and things go up so much, sometimes you're going to have to raise property tax to keep our schools going, and we don't have any other income. Sales tax goes towards schools, but we got to build schools, and of course sports. But we're looking. There's gambling in Tennessee now, sports betting, which I looked at what we county got the other day, and I can't remember what it was, but wasn't up a pocket change. And Williamson County Mayor, he mentioned, said, big as my county is, he said that check don't even mean nothing. So we're wondering why the counties can't get more of that income, and then we're also. The lottery just goes toward colleges. Why not some of it go toward the public schools? Anything to help the residents. We're looking at that too. And then we got to talking about the jails. There was about 4 or 5 mayors that's from a rural county. One of them didn't even have a Walmart or nothing. And he said, we got to build a bigger jail. And we're going to have to raise property tax substantially to do it.
So these were county mayors, not
city mayors.
Yeah.
They were county mayors
across the state.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, when cities have more ways of getting more income than a county does because of commercial and everything. So we're looking at ways, and people would have no idea what we're costing on courtrooms. And, half of the sheriff's department, or if they're not delivering warrants, they're standing in a courtroom working or working security. It takes a lot of deputies to do that. And the jail, it is constantly money going into that jail on repairs and whatever you had to do to keep prisoners from suing you or whatever. It's just a big deal, and people don't never see that.
Yeah.
And we're going to need some help. We're going to have to keep building these jails.
Well, and people don't realize that your office, I mean, you're coming together with people across the state all the time to say, what are y'all doing? What's working? Let's compare notes and let's make our counties better. And, I'm so proud of what we've got going on here. But you think about some of these rural counties.
Hey, they're struggling.
Yeah.
They're struggling.
Yeah.
And
well, the economy right now, I mean, good land. Look at what gas prices have done.
Well,
think about what the gas price has done to your budget, and then imagine what it's done to our county budget. When you look at the expense in, every vehicle that has to
when you make a budget, you're just projecting what fuel costs will be that year. You don't know. At solid waste, our revenues are down at solid waste. It's because the gentleman that hauls our trash to Kentucky, which does a great job, he has in his contract a stipulation of price of diesel. It's this price if diesel's that price.
Yeah.
And then if diesel goes over that, then it's another price.
Right.
And it's working on what we're spending.
You bet.
We're having to give him more money because of the price of diesel.
Well, and you think about what it costs to run ambulances and patrol cars and all of the things. It's incredible.
It's coming through Nashville, I looked at all those buildings and I'm thinking, every one of them's got that air conditioner kicked on right now.
Yeah.
How did it go? I don't know how we're keeping up with I heard this morning on the radio, for every degree you turn your unit down or up, winter or summer, you're adding 3% to your cost of your bill that month. Every degree. I never thought about it that way. And I can't imagine what we're spending. I know what it is, but like right now this week over at on the air conditioning at the office building.
Oh, I can't.
And the archives, the air went out yesterday on the archives, and then people were literally suffering in there.
Oh, yeah, I imagine.
And I told them to shut down at 2 and come back at 8, and let's see if we can get that thing fixed. But already my maintenance guy told me every unit in the office building is 15 years old and going to have to be replaced.
And that you talk about, you think about that expense for your home.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to an office building, it's astronomical. But guys, come on, God's got us.
So we're working on the budget.
This, right?
Yes,
God's
he has.
got this.
We are working on the budget. We haven't got anything we can throw up against the wall yet, see if it'll stick. But I was talking to Montgomery County Mayor yesterday. He said we're raising our budget 16%. And I said 16 cents. He said no, 16%.
Wow.
Cheatham County's having a 6.8% raise in their property tax. Williamson County's having a property tax increase. Rutherford County, and right now we're looking at maybe 3 cents. Don't get alarmed. We're trying to work on that. But what's got us in a bind is the rooftop at the courthouse. That money was not budgeted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was not budgeted. So you have surprises like that. But folks, we took out $20 million out of fund balance the last 2 years for schools and buildings that we didn't have to borrow because 25 years ago there was a set of county commissioners that put money in a balance account that was drawing interest on that would pay for projects like this.
Yeah.
And a lot of counties cannot say that.
Yeah.
They can't say it.
Yeah.
And the commissioners today are getting a break by being able to reach in there and get that money. They really are. And I hope they realize how good our past commissioners has been to us.
Very good. What else you got?
And I want to get to you. You go to work August the 6th?
Well, no, the 5th. We have, actually, though, I actually have a professional development day this week on Friday.
Okay. For all the grandparents out there that's been babysitting, how you get a break. School's open August 6th.
Yeah. Well, and the teachers, like I said, we've got a professional development day on Friday for CTE, for career teachers, and then we have a professional development day on the 5th. We'll be there. So, but the kiddos, yes, you can bring your kids back to school on the 6th, but it's a half day. Yeah. It's a half day. And then we'll take them all day on the 7th. So we're ready. You know what? I'm ready to get back to the classroom. Well, I miss my kids. I bet these kids ain't. Oh, I mean, no. Who would have wanted to go to school August 6th? My home room, they're seniors. So I know they're just excited. I know they're ready. Let's go. Let's finish. You know, I've got some that'll be graduating early that by Christmas they're going to be done. Yeah. And so they're ready. Alex Maddox, you know who you are. He's ready to get. He's going to go to be an EMT, and he's ready to get. He's ready to get up, move on. He's ready to get into his adult rhythm of, he wants to become an EMT and all that. So I've got
Good
a lot
for
of
him.
kids.
That was one of our discussions yesterday with all the mayors, the shortage of EMTs.
Well, he's going to, that's his plan right now. Of course, you can change your mind. I went to college to do one thing and change my mind. So,
Well, we're talking statewide. EMTs is very short.
Yeah.
And kids, if you get into this field, let me tell you, it pays good money.
Yes,
it pays
does.
good
Yes,
money.
It does. Yeah.
And you're doing a service to your folks and your friends around being an EMT. It's sometimes it's long hours and it's very stressful, I'm sure, but it's a need that's out there. But I want to say school start because before I speak to you next month, there's going to be kids out here at bus stops and everything, and pay attention to them.
Please, please.
When these buses stop and that arm goes out, you got to stop too, folks. Don't go too close to them. So I just want to remind y'all that that's coming up. And my last thing on communications is the Thrasher Show in Adams this weekend.
Yes.
They're already lining up equipment, and the parade is 10 o'clock Saturday morning. If you've never been, you need to go.
Yes.
You need to go see that parade and all the tractors and the stuff. But that'll be this weekend at Adams.
And and we had those, if you want to hear a little bit about that, check the show out from last Monday, and we had them on for an hour.
Yeah.
And talked all about it, talked about the schedule from all the things that you can see with the equipment. Now, they had that big engine, that pavilion that got damaged.
Yeah.
And so they are doing a GoFundMe to raise money to get that repaired. So please, 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 if you can contribute to that, reach out to them at the Thresherman Show and contribute to that and help them out with that. Of course, my husband's going to go out there and help with the horse pool and all that kind of stuff on Thursday and Friday. We've got stuff going Saturday, so he can't be there Saturday, but he's going to be out there some he's all into the horse pools and all that kind of stuff. So he'll be out there with those things, and I've got to go get my milled corn because that's where I get my cornmeal every year to make pretzels. I have to get a fresh batch, and I keep it in my freezer. Yeah, that's the only place you can get it. I've never found it anywhere else.
Under that shed, there's a great big wheel.
Yeah.
And that wheel used to help furnish the electricity at City of Clarksville.
No,
Ain't that something?
That is really cool. And they're gonna repair it, but they had some wind damage. They had a tree come down, and it damaged. Of course, they lost the shed. They, all of that. So they've got to rebuild that. They're going to redo the engine. They're going to salvage it. They're going to redo it, but it's going to cost some money. So they're raising funds for that. So keep that in mind as well. But yeah, get out to the Thresherman Show this weekend. Starting Thursday night.
We had our elections and appointments last night. We had to replace a member on our animal control. We had one member resign from that committee, and we replaced that. But we had to re-up our ethics committee. The ethics committee is something that hasn't met in maybe 10 years. Because thank goodness we're very ethical or something. But that's Neil Sullivan, Billy Ray Doris, and Jonathan Rummel, Chris Trauber's on there, and Randy Wilson. And that's if a department head maybe bends a rule or something, or maybe does something may not look right, we'll have a little meeting about it and get it straightened out. Mm-hmm. Even the bosses need to be slapped on the wrist every once in a while.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's just part of it. So, but we do have a committee for that. The main thing we talked about last night that went on for about an hour was zoning. We had one zoning issue on 31W, which is commercial up there, and there's a piece of property that's in the RP 80, which is a house, zoned for a house, but he wanted to put in a storage unit, some storage units on 31W, and the people that lived around there was against it, and the main concern was water runoff. Whenever you have parking lots and stuff like that, the water doesn't go in the ground, it runs off. Mm-hmm. If you'll notice at the office building, we're putting in a parking lot. Mm-hmm. And we're waiting on a membrane to go in the ground to hold the water that's going to hit that asphalt. And that's what's holding up the project. We're meeting zoning requirements by the city of Springfield, what we're doing. So we're having to, as soon as we get that in, we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars controlling the water that's running off that building and down the road toward those bonding companies to keep from flooding people out down there. Mm-hmm. Water runs to the lowest point.
Yes, it does. I have a cousin right now, their neighbor diverted some water, and it's running right into her building.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
We have done baffles, we've done holding ponds, and we're putting a membrane underneath that parking lot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
so
never thought about that. But
that parking lot was getting in bad shape. There's a wall that was supposed to be holding up the top parking lot that had done started leaning toward the cars. So we had,
wow. Yeah.
folks, you don't have any idea what we spend on these buildings.
It's a lot.
You know, if you think you spend a lot on your house and driveways and stuff, it's unreal. But we only have property tax to do that with.
Yeah.
So that did get beat last night. What people do, they'll try to rezone something, and this gentleman was rezoning this, and it's got to be rezoned before you go spend money on it.
Yeah.
Now, if he had won last night, that don't mean that project was going to happen. That means he's got to submit a map of what he's doing. His engineer will show where the water's going to go, and it gives him, he'll spend money then on like architects, and then our engineer will look at it and see if it will work. If it won't work, we won't let it be done.
Right.
Just because he got zoned don't mean it's going to happen. Our people gets involved then, and we're not about to let a project happen that's going to hurt folks knowing we could get sued later.
I got you.
Yeah, we're going to do it right. We didn't have an engineer 4 years ago, but we do now.
You have to now. You just have to. You just have to get in front of this stuff. Talking with County Mayor Billy Vogle, they had the county commissioners meeting last night. And so he comes in, if you're new to the program, he comes in on the morning after that meeting and gives us a report of what's going on. And you can also go and watch the meeting. You can go and watch it in the archives. So just know that everything is completely transparent, and they want you to stay up to date on what's happening in the county. What else you got for us, sir?
Okay. We've done all reports, which is about 9 of them, and I'll ask them. I said, highway report, any questions or comments? And usually there's some comments, but if the county commissioners do their job and look at the reports, then they already know what it's all about when I ask them if they got any questions or comments, and then we'll vote to file those reports for history. Okay, we're getting our resolutions, and I'm looking at the clock. We still got a little time left.
Yeah, we do. We do. I've still got to do an ad, but you keep going.
All right, you tell me when.
Okay.
Here we go. $1.6 million transferred out of our capital projects for the roof at the courthouse. We did that last month, but the year-ending budget is June the 30th. You realize we're in July now. This money has not been spent, so we had to put it in this year's budget to show that we had the money in there. So we voted on it again, had to amend the rules. You can amend the rules on general fund money. And what that means, it takes 2 readings. So if we was not in a hurry to put this roof on, we would have voted last night to do it, and then next month we would have voted again to make it legal. We suspended the rules, and then, of course, the commission votes on suspending the rules. We went back to the resolution, so this passed with 2 readings. This 1.6, we've been told it won't be over 1.3, but you never know what we get into. And I don't like going back to the well twice.
Yeah.
So if there's any money left, it will go back in Fund 171, which is for projects on county buildings. So we passed that last night.
Okay.
All right, and right behind that is we had to put $1.8 million into relocating all the offices, the public health and welfare project, services, relocating $575,000 just for locating all these offices, which the insurance company is going to pay for. Then we had to vote $1.3 million to go inside the courthouse and make more room, which is me leaving, moving Chancery Court, adding a jury room, 4 bathrooms, and redoing all the offices for the judges. It's going to be about $1.3 million. We're hoping we can get that done at 1.1. That's the way the bid come out. And, of course, we'll put the other 200 back in 171. This ought to fix things up, barring a disaster for years to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening to me, we probably won't have to spend any money on, where's some wood? Any money on that building for another 25 years.
A long time,
Yeah.
until that roof wears out.
Yeah.
What kind of a warranty are you getting on the roof?
20 years is all we can get.
Yeah, that's pretty standard. So
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of material they're putting on? Do you know what they're?
There'll be some rubber involved, and
is it like there's like Carlisle and Duralast and?
yeah, that word came up. You know the words. Yeah.
Duralast.
Yeah, that word came
You're
up.
nice, good system. I mean, that's the one that we used a lot. In
Yeah,
Carlisle as
that
well.
word
They're
came
both
up.
very good. Yeah.
And whatever the engineer, architect designed up
Right.
there, I told them to
They're
do
a little
it.
more expensive, but they're mechanically fastened, and
I told them to do it right.
Yeah, and they're good. They're good
We
systems.
we do not want this on the next mayor or whoever down the road. We want this done right.
Very good. Very good. Sounds like you're doing it right. So very good. All right, Mayor. I tell you, let's go ahead and do a break while you get reset, and then we'll come back and you'll have the rest of the time. But we're going to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty, my friends in the real estate community. And I'm not moving or anything. I love my land. I'm as long as the good Lord lets me, I'm staying right there. But my kids are wanting to build a house there, and we really they would love to build at the top of the hill. Well, we need road access. And so I told, anytime you have a question that involves the land around you, you're like, hey, I'd like to, extend my property. What's going on next to me? You can reach out to people like Barry and Rebecca, and they can keep an eye on it. Say, hey, if something comes up for sale, if we think there's some options there, we'll let you know. And so we've, put them on alert. Say, hey, can you let us know what's going on right there on this part of the property boundary, to see if there's some options for my kiddos to get some road frontage and do some things up there. And any kind of a question that you have when it comes to the real estate community, they can help you with. You can reach out to them anytime. You can Google them at Barry or Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. They've been part of the Garden Gate team, Exit Garden Gate team, for many, many years. They started a new office, a new branch in the Exit Tree, same great team, with her real estate office that's out of White House, and his broker, he's a broker. He's the broker here in Springfield, has an office there on the downtown square, and you can reach out to either one of them. Just Google it, or you can give her a call. Her number is 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. She's one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. He is a marketer for 17 years, brings that expertise to the team. They are from Kentucky, so they understand the nuances of Kentucky purchases. They're here in Cross Plains. They've been here for nearly 30 years, so they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they do it all. They buy and sell in the surrounding counties, across the state line in Kentucky. They've got a great diverse background that makes them suitable for any question you would have or any need you would have in the real estate community. They're good friends of mine, great community involved. You just can't say enough about my friends Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. Reach out to them today if you have any concerns in the real estate community. And Mayor Vogle, back to you.
You got to pay the bills.
Pay the bills. Got to pay the bills. Absolutely.
Hey,
that's how we do it.
Okay, next resolution of 4057 we did last night was the drug control fund. We have drug court, we have all this, but all the auditors, state auditors, make everything go in a certain file, certain line item, and drug control fund is 122. The sheriff, just come from him. He had $74,000. He's got $180,000 in that fund, but he got his revenue drug control fines was like $10,000, and he had confiscated property, $54,000, where he maybe confiscated some dealer's boat or something, and then he had some sale of some equipment, $74,000. He turned around his expenses, of course, his licensed vehicles, his trustee commission, his staff development, and he's had some capital outlay. But his fund balance starting out the first of the year, July the 1st, will be $194,000. See, it's folks. We look at every penny, every penny. It's all answered for. So that of course that passes. That's just something. That's like housekeeping. That's what that is. That's housekeeping.
Right.
Okay. If you have a road that you're concerned about the speed limit on, resolution 4058 last night come from the highway department on Catholic Church Road. If you know what's that, that's over toward District 7 and District, back over in there around Fluellen. It's, I don't know, I think they lowered it down to 40 or something, but if you go to your highway commission, which are elected officials, and have a problem, they will look at that and change the speed limit. If there's not any signs on the road, it's automatically 55, I think, but unless it's posted otherwise. So that was voted on last night, and of course it passes, and that came from Road Commissioner Donnie Martin. That's in his territory. So it's Catholic. All right, they moved it down to 35 miles an hour. Yeah. Yep. So see, they do things like that too. If you have a road that's a problem, it's like that. We don't have a speeding problem. We got a people problem. Well, with animal control, we don't have animal problem. We got a people problem.
That's right.
Yeah, it's the animals is not the one that's breaking the law, so we got a people problem. All right, Resolution 4059 come from school, and it's a surplus of equipment. You remember last month we gave all the laptops, I think, to the seniors?
To the seniors, yeah.
Yeah, maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But this here is going in salvage surplus of the welders. They're replacing 5 welders that have gotten in bad shape, maybe wires naked or something in our shops. So had a question come up last night from a commissioner. When we do surplus property, where does it go if the public wants to bid on it? It goes to Tennessee.govs.
Mm-hmm.
Every piece of equipment, whether it be truck, tractor, road graders, dump trucks, all that will go on Tennessee.govs. You pull it up on your computer, and you're welcome to bid on it. Now, after about 2 months, if nobody bids on this stuff, then it is declared junk, I guess, and it will just go to probably for scrap.
Mm-hmm.
It goes to scrap.
And you can watch that. I know some teachers. I was in a classroom with one of my coworkers one day, and she had these unique looking tables. I was like, "Where did you get these?" And that's how she got them.
Yeah.
And she bought them herself, but she bought them, for pennies on the dollar. But yes, teachers, we spend a lot of our own money. You just can't help yourself. You get in there and you're like, I'll just buy it. You just do it. But yeah, you can get some really cool stuff. Watch out for it.
Yeah, Resolution 4060 come from the Education Department again. It was technology. They've got a list here of computers that they're salvaging. I'm sure the computer life being on all the time and the heat, but there's quite a few of them. And I don't know how many computers is in the school, but it's quite a few. But that's all going on Tennessee.govs too, as we're replacing those computers. This all goes in front of the school board and is voted on by them. So it's not just some teacher saying, "Hey, I'm junking my computer."
Oh, you have no idea. These computers, man, we push them until I've been so blessed because I've got a new program, and so they've got new equipment for me. But I see some teachers, their computers are barely hanging on, and they need to be replaced. I know that. We had Coach White runs the engineering department right next to me, and his computers could not handle what he needed them to do as far as the technology, what he's trying to teach. They just couldn't keep up, and so they had to replace his computers to get him up to speed to where he could teach what he needed to teach. So that happens. If we're gonna teach these career things, we've got to have computers that will keep up, and it takes some memory to be able to do that in more advanced computers. So you just have to switch these things out if you want to be able to have to teach your objective sometimes. So, but anyway.
Our last resolution last night came from the Sheriff's Department. Of course, it's surplus property. If you remember, I've talked the last couple of months about our new 911 radio system. Mm-hmm. And he has got some very outdated Kenwood radios. Now, I'm not going to say they're in bad shape, but they're outdated. They will not fit the towers we're putting in. Yeah. There's 118 of them, Kenwood mobile radios and equipment. So these will be going on Tennessee.govs. If you're a big farmer, want to put radios in your tractors and things, this may work for you. So we had to vote last night for him to put them on Gov deals.
There you go, Baggett's.
There you go.
There you go. Get
there
you some radios
now,
for you.
Now you're going to have to pay for your radio time with somebody's tower, but you'll have the radios.
It takes something like Baggett's or a big one to have to want that kind of a system, I would think. I think it'd be one of the big farmers. But is that it?
That was what we went through last night.
Wow,
there was no new business.
We've got 6 minutes.
Yeah, but I want to talk about something that's going on this week.
Okay, go for it.
We're early voting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I think people need to exercise their right to go vote.
I believe it.
That's something that's many a soul has died for. Mm-hmm. And go vote because it costs money to put on an election.
Yes, it does.
And it's not cheap. There's a lot of work goes involved. The voting machines aren't cheap, and to store them, they're in a $400,000 room. Security-wise, the weather, we keep it a certain temperature. But, get out and vote. Mm-hmm. Our nation right now seems to be fussing and fighting.
Hot mess.
Just because somebody don't agree with you don't mean you got a right to hit them over the head. Mm-hmm. So, but that is your right to go vote. And it's embarrassing when you've got 75,000 people in the county and don't maybe 25 of them go vote.
I know it is absolutely heartbreaking. And the election is actually, and this, a lot of people are like, well, the election's in November. Well, these are local elections, and this is August 1st. And some of this is primary stuff that we've got to do, but you've got to be involved. I mean, there's some school board elections, things like that. But these are really primary elections, primarily, right? I think it's
determining
who's going to run on the particular ticket. So
right.
It's August 1st is actual election day, but you can early vote. You said starting today.
It started Monday.
Started Monday, so you can go out and early vote.
We've told our employees to park where they won't affect the voters coming in. So all you got to go. It's very simple. You just go in there. It don't take just a minute, and but do that because. I think maybe elections past we've had like 14-15%.
It's a sad thing. It breaks my heart, and I get I get the frustration with elections and all of that. I really do. We all like, can't we get better candidates and all? I get it, but too many people have died for your right to vote. And here's the thing, women, we have only been able to vote for a little over 100 years.
And and I think Tennessee started that.
Well, they were the final vote that was needed.
They sure was. That boy voted what his mama wanted him to do.
I know, that's hysterical.
That's a good story.
It's a great story, but nonetheless, guys, don't take it for granted. And I mean, as a woman, I take that very seriously.
I take it serious too.
Yeah. I do. So I don't, because I mean, you had to, in the beginning, you had to be a landowner to vote. And I kind of think there was I think if there was if a woman owned land because she was widowed or something, I think she might have been able to. I'm not sure. I'd have to dig into some history there. But because originally you had to own land to cast a vote. You could not be somebody that just hanging out. You had to own land. And I'm not a history teacher. Somebody can correct me on that, but I think that's right.
I got a receipt in my office, and I've been meaning to give it to the archives. I mean, the historical museum, where back when the roads first started in Robeson County, a farmer, instead of him paying a road tax or paying a property tax on roads, there wasn't no such thing as a fuel tax, he would donate his time clearing the road in front of his house. Oh. And you went and registered how many miles, a quarter of a mile, whatever, and all the farmers would get together and fix that road themselves. My granddad told me he said he helped build a bridge over a creek because that was his job to do. If you own property, they expected you to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I got a receipt where this guy promised so many hours.
Oh man, that's cool.
That's pretty neat.
That'd be a cool.
You reckon that'd work today?
I don't know. I mean, in lieu of taxes, I suppose maybe. I don't know. If you could do that instead of pay taxes, maybe.
I wanted to ask the budget committee this year to give maybe $15,000 or $20,000, and if a group, whether it's Boy Scouts or whatever, band members, if they would go pick up trash we'd pay them $1,000 a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way they could put it into their
instead of
their coffers.
Yeah, put it in, work for it.
Man, I'd do it because I need to raise club money.
Yeah, but I'm worried about, of course, if safety. Somebody had to be out there on one end while the kids was doing it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to put them on the road with people speeding. But anything like that would help teaching young people about the pride of the land and earning money to do what their hobbies are.
Yeah. For sure. Because, that's a thing.
I think they do it in Logan County.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's an interesting idea.
There's a couple named Masons up there toward 431 going out. They brought that to my attention. And I think it's a great idea.
I think it is too. When you get students involved, though, a lot of the time you have to have law enforcement that's escorting, and so I don't know. That would be the only thing about.
You have to be on county rural roads, of course. You don't need to be out on state highways.
Because I know when I've seen students just walking, they're going like a little walking tour. You've got officers escorting a lot of the times because you've just got to be so careful with kiddos. We just want to be
the world we live in.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Well, I'm
Mayor
done.
Vogle. You done? I'm done. Too. Well, we're just wrapping it up here, and just kind of a couple of programming notes. Want to remind just a couple of local things. When we talk about Thresherman Show, it starts Thursday night. Also, want us to talk about the fact that we've got a play going on from Robeson County Players. Have you been to the play Gypsy? Oh, it's so good.
No, I haven't.
It is so good. It is at Coopertown Middle. They're at Coopertown Middle because they're working on the Innovation Academy, and they usually have it in that auditorium, but they had to take it to Coopertown Middle. You've got a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night show you can go to at 7 p.m. Outstanding. It is so good. But anyway, so I encourage you to go to that. We've got the fair coming up.
They're working on it.
Yep, the fair's coming up. I've got Trent Cobb's going to come in here, or fair folks are going to be in here on that Monday that we go back for professional development for the teachers on August 5th to kind of get the fair update, but it starts on the 6th. So as we go back to school, we're going to the fair. So
hey, I think there's several people in the city election. I think they've got several people up for office this year.
So get into the Robertson County Connection had a good review of all the offices that are up for election. You can pull that from last week, I think it came out, and you can look at that. And I guess that's all I've got too. So join us tomorrow. We'll have Ron Martin. Ron Martin will be in here, and who else have I got coming in tomorrow morning? I forget, but we'll have a great show, guys. I hope you'll join us here for 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a fabulous day.
Now, you know, I hadn't had much to say tonight or on this whole album, have I? Just been